All right, hello. Welcome and thank you for joining us for another edition of Folks Talking Sports. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. With me, my co-host, my partners in crime, the youngster of the group, Andy Yanez from Paul Slamma Jamma and Apollo Sports, and Willy Gibson from WTG Sports. The Ohio State, he covers them, covers Ohio sports. Let's save it like that. Fellas, how y'all doing today?
All is well.
I'm doing great, Kris. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'll be even better if the special guest joins us. I just told Will, Andy, since you were late joining us, but don't worry about that. If she joins us, it'll be a surprise. So she does have ties with the Rockets, and I'll just leave it at that, especially the newest Rockets. So we'll just leave it at that. So yeah, just leave it at that. So if the light bulb goes under your head, So reach out to her. Social media is an amazing thing, man. So, I reached out to her and she said that she would join us if she could. So hopefully she'll be able to join us and we can find out a little bit about her and her background, how she got into doing what she does, So cool. All right, fellas. The draft was
That's awesome.
Thursday. Oh, well, July 29th. We all know who the first pick was. That's the most important pick from my viewpoint, of course.
Who had the first pick?
The Detroit basketball had the first pick.
Oh, okay.
Ed Cunningham went first. Rockets. I'm gonna get right there. Rockets number 2 pick with Jalen Green. Rockets surprised me. Okay, I'm speaking for myself, nobody else. They went into the draft with 3 first-round picks. I did not believe that they would keep all 3 first-round picks. Not only did they do that, they added a 4th first-round pick via a trade. So they came away with 4 19-year-old talented players. I think that's a surprise to me because I think hopefully it signals that Rafael Stone, GM of the Rockets, has convinced Tillman Fertitta to do the rebuild correctly. Take time and build a core with talented players instead of going out trying to get stopgaps and spending a lot of money on veterans for quick fixes, things like that. These 4 guys, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun from Turkey, Usman Garuba from Spain, and Josh Christopher, Stanford, 4 19-year-olds, all talented in their right. I think they had a great draft. What do y'all think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Will, do you want to take this first?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they, as you said, Kris, I think Rafael Stone, someone has convinced Tillman Fertitta to go ahead and tear down to the studs, if you will, and build this thing back up the right way. I mean, John Wall clearly didn't do it. I mean, you add these 4 young men to what they already established last year with the young veterans, Christian Wood, the rookie from last year, Jayshawn Tate. It looks like they're on the right path. They fill needs, and without question, they seem to be on the right path of rebuilding this thing and giving Stephen Silas the opportunity to develop and grow with this team.
Yeah, Will couldn't have said it any better myself. Especially, it kind of seemed, especially towards the final few days, especially the last week, that Houston was going to lean towards Jalen Green over Evan Mobley or potentially anyone else. But I think, like you said, Kris, I was surprised that they not only did they keep all 3 of their original picks, but also added one. And I think overall they added a good variety, if that's the right word to describe, in terms of the rookies that they drafted. You look at who they traded up to get with that 16th pick, and I might need some help saying his name. Is it Alperen Sengun?
Yeah, we're going to go with Alperen Sengun, but we'll go with that right now, and we will hopefully learn how to pronounce it later on in this show.
Right.
There's a hint right there.
Yeah, I figured it out real quickly. But yeah, just looking at his resume, I mean, I believe he won the MVP of the Turkish League as an 18-year-old. I mean,
Correct.
that's big time. You don't see the average person doing that when they're at 18 years old. Just basing off what some of the Rockets reporters have described, to his game, and I've seen a bit of film about him. He looks like he has a lot of potential in terms of what he can do. And I think one thing that has stood out to me just from watching him the last couple of days is his playmaking. He can create for a big man. It also looks like he has good touch around the rim, which is always going to be really good in the NBA, and his length as well. I think that's the most obviously Jalen Green is going to be the rookie that has the most expectations, just being the number 2 pick. But I think with the Sengun, if we'll learn how to say it, is potentially the most interesting prospect they have, just in terms of he's got length, and he's shown that he has talent that could potentially grow just in terms of what he's already done overseas. And
that's a great lead in for folks who may not have seen any bit of the Rockets introductory press conference on Friday. The entirety of it, of course, if you follow me, subscribe to the channel, you know it's on Houston Roundball Reviews YouTube channel. And last I saw, this press conference is going up to 40,000 views. So as of 20 minutes ago, 40,000 views, approaching that. But I want to play a clip from Rafael Stone, about 5 minutes long, but it's Rafael giving his scouting report of the 4 rookies. And I think fans are going to enjoy this. So sit tight, keep watching Folks Talking Sports, and listen to Rafael Stone describe the newest Rockets.
Yeah, with Jalen, I mean, he's electric. His first step is as good as anybody's in basketball, and his second and third step might be better. And then you know, when he jumps, it's really high. So good things happen. And then on top of that, he can handle the ball and shoot. Josh's scouting report was actually that was solid. So yeah, I think Jalen's a bucket, and and again, one of the nice things about the G League is he's already accustomed to the NBA 3-point line. That range is relatively comfortable for him. As he gets older, bigger, stronger, that's just going to become easier and easier. But he can shoot, and he can shoot from all 3 levels. I think Jalen is really, really talented. We're gonna work on that D. Yeah, we're gonna work on the D. But the effort's there. It's not non-existent. And so I kind of teasing him, kind of serious, but it's not. I think he's going to end up being a really, really good, well-rounded, all-around player who's impactful on both sides of the ball. One thing, if you're as athletic as Jalen is, you can play defense. You can play defense at an elite level. So it's all will and want. And I do also think that there's a lot of will and want. We do a ton of background research on all the players. We put them through ridiculous interviews where they have to meet with 15 guys, and it's really apparent with Jalen how much he loves basketball. So that's great. With Josh, Josh is a problem. When he's going downhill, it's just a wrap. And he can really handle the ball, really, really handle the ball. Given he's 19, but he's a man when he's coming at you. And I just in transition, I actually think these are the 2 best players in the whole draft in transition. He's electric. And then on the flip side of the ball, on the ball defensively, I think he has a chance to be truly special. And so that's with Josh, that's a really unique combo where he's got something on offense that I think he does right away at an above average NBA level. And then I think is just picking up the ball and getting into it. He really bothers people. He's built a little bit like Drew Holiday or Eric Gordon, and those types of players really bother other players. It's not fun to play against somebody who's quicker than you and just bodying the daylights out of you and beating you to the spot. And he already flashes that. Not all the time, but he already flashes that really, really consistently. And then we're going to work on the off-ball stuff. And so Josh hasn't had the advantage of playing in the G League or playing in the Euro League. And so one of the disadvantages is that he's been playing zone and stuff like that, and playing against people playing zone, and his bigs can sit in the middle. So there's going to be a learning curve with rotations and everything else. But I do think Josh has the ability to be a truly elite defender in this game, as well as being a truly special attacker. So that's what I see there. With LP, he's really unique too. like around the hoop, he finishes everything, and he's just a load. He's a big guy, and he plays bigger than he is, and he's a strong guy, and he's got touch, and then he's got game too. It's like he's taking the ball, he's rebounding it. You don't stop him. He's taking it coast to coast, and he's comfortable. I mean, he's a big guy. He's not trying to be a perimeter player or a skill guy on the perimeter all day, but he's got a ton of skill for a big guy. He can pass the ball. I think he can shoot the ball. I'm just really excited about him. And then with respect to Garuba, like I said on last night, I think he's the best defender in the world who's not playing in the NBA. And so that's what I see. And so he's gonna have to all these guys are gonna have to translate it. It turns out that beating up on guys a division below or on college kids or 6 months ago in AAU is that happens, and it's not the same as the NBA. And so that's the challenge for them. That's the challenge for us. And the Turkish League and the Euro League and the Spanish League are really, really good leagues, but they're not the NBA. And so it's a challenge for all of us, and we're looking forward to it. I know they are. We've had that conversation, and where the challenge starts next week.
All right, guys. Usman Garuba, Andy, I think you're still muted, man. The best defender in the world outside of the NBA, 19 years old.
Yeah, I caught that too. That's high praise. That's
Indeed.
Really high praise.
And let me correct myself real quick. Once again, I don't know why I had Josh Christopher coming from Stanford. He went to Arizona State. We're number 13. James Harden. Yeah, so I don't know where that came from, but I'm getting old, Andy, so you got to help the old man. But yeah, a lot of folks feel that Garuba is an elite defensive player. Alperen defense is not his strength yet. So that could be a good balance right there. Alperen's offense, Garuba's defense. Good combo right there. But really, a 19-year-old being an elite defensive player? Will, what are your thoughts on that, man?
It almost sounds like an oxymoron because it just doesn't, to the first hearing of it, doesn't quite compute. But I have to take him for his word. I haven't seen a lot of the young man, so I mean, clearly they've scouted him extensively. So, but that is, as Andy said, that is high praise. Just to say, outside of the NBA, this is the best defensive player in the world at 19 years old. I don't know if he's almost setting. I don't want to say setting the young man up for failure, but he's putting a great deal of notoriety on the young man's name. And with Summer League coming up, I'm quite sure scouting reports that'll be highlighted.
And we'll get a chance to see. And let me say this. Rafael's not the only person I've seen here, heard, or read having high praise for Garuba's defensive skills. A lot of other folks. So, and with those similar words of being an elite defensive player, one of the best, if not the best, outside of the NBA already. We'll get a chance to see it. Team Spain versus Team USA men's quarterfinal Tuesday night, 11:40 p.m. Central Time. So if you don't have, I think it's still on Peacock Premium. I don't believe it's on one of the linear channels yet. I'm not sure about that yet. But we'll get a chance to see him and see a defense going against KD possibly. Usman 6'8", 6'9". It'll be fun. Still got Mark and Pau Gasol, Ricky Rubio. Spain has a lot of NBA guys. So I saw a tweet from a media person yesterday after the men waxed the Czech Republic by 37 points. And his comment was kind of serious, I guess. I don't know if he was being flippant, but he was like, don't tell me that the gap has narrowed when the USA is beating the team by 37 points. Okay, the Czech Republic has nowhere near the number of NBA players like Spain, France, Australia, etc. So make a legitimate comparison. Okay, there are countries who have more NBA players participating for their countries than others. The ones that do are the ones that are competing and beating Team USA. So seriously, I won't say his name because I don't want to put him out there like they put him on blast yet. But come on now. But overall, Jalen Green gets buckets. Jalen Green said he wants to be not only Rookie of the Year, wants to earn a spot on the all-defense team. Jalen Green and Josh Christopher were teammates at AAU, friends for a long time. The future could be bright for the Rockets organization. All four of them will be in the United States playing with the Rockets this season. Some of them may spend time in the G League for development, for playing time, to get some work in because, the chances of all four of them seeing consistent minutes in the regular season in the NBA is not great, especially right off the top. But they will spend time and develop because, Rockets G League squad, they like to develop. They're good at that. So just what is your overall assessment, Andy, you first, about the future of the Rockets?
I've seen it. I if you had to give them a letter grade, I'd probably give them an A, just in terms of the draft they had. And I touched on it a little bit earlier, just in terms of the variety and in terms of what these players, they all bring a little bit different to the table. They all have potential. They're all young. And it's interesting that, with 3 out of the 4 players, they didn't go the NCAA route. They played either in the G League or overseas. That's something that it might be something that Raphael Stone, as a GM, that's something that he likes, or he might prefer players from different experiences. I feel like not only the different styles in terms of the big man from, I keep butchering his name, I'm going to go with Sengun, just in terms of what he can do. And then, like I said, with Jalen Green, I think the G League will probably help him more when he enters the league. I remember hearing an interview a while ago with Armani Brooks, who relevant news with him that happened last night, but he mentioned just how different it was, that jump from playing in the NCAA to just the G League, how different the speed is for players. So that's something that Jalen Green already has under his belt, and I feel like that experience will help him. Obviously, it's probably an even bigger jump from the G League to the NBA, but I think still being able to have experience with a high competitive, even if it was a limited sample size this past season, I think Houston had a really good draft.
Well, what do you say? What about the future of the Rockets?
I think it's bright. As Andy said, I concur. 4 draft picks, 4 first-round draft picks. Yeah. And I'm not big on draft grades 3 days after the draft, but if I had to give them one, I would say it was successful. I would give them an A. They filled needs. They brought in talent. 2 of the guys they mentioned, defensive players, and which in today's NBA is not a calling card for most players. And for them to be 19 years old, as young as they are, and coming in with that calling card as a defensive player, as a defensive stopper, if you will, that goes a long way. So I think it's a step in the right direction. It's allowing, again, Stephen Silas, giving him tools to work with, give him young guys that can grow together, and I think the future is bright.
Andy, you tossed it out there as a little teaser, man. Share the news about Armani Brooks.
Yeah, I believe they extended the qualifying offer to him to be a restricted free agent. I think it was Kelly Eco from The Athletic that reported that last night. So that's good for Armani Brooks, and I'd imagine that's probably leaning towards him returning to the Houston Rockets next season.
And at minimum, Rockets, him being a restricted free agent, the Rockets can match an offer that Armani may sign with another team in the league. So that's good for him. Good news. Summer League starts on August 8th. I think the rosters might be announced sometime this week, if not Monday. But we know who the Rockets are going to play in Summer League. The league announced the schedules, and I just focus on the 4 Rocket games. All 30 NBA teams will participate in Vegas in the Summer League. The teams will advance to sort of like a playoff, and they can play like 5, 6, or 7 games if you get to the championship game of the Summer League. But Rockets, August 8th, will face the Cavs.
Yes, sir.
5:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. August 10th, Rockets face the Pistons. 8 p.m. on ESPN. Gee, I'm not really sure why ESPN chose to put that matchup on 8 o'clock on a primetime matchup like that. But maybe it's because it's 1 versus 2 in the draft. Possibly.
Tuesday
August
night.
12th,
Yeah.
Rockets versus Toronto, 7 p.m. on NBA TV. And then August 15th, Rockets close it out against Orlando, 7 p.m. also on NBA TV. Going to shift gears with some local, well, sorry, Will, H-Town folks who got drafted, H-Town connections who got drafted. One, Troy Murphy, who attended Rice before transferring to Virginia. He got selected 17th to the Pelicans. But also, Quentin Grimes, Houston Cougars, going to the Knicks, 25th pick. And then as well, Dejan Giroux signing a contract with the Miami Heat. And I got 2 clips from U of H's head coach, Kelvin Sampson. And Andy was part of the Zoom call, so he knows what Coach Sampson said. Will, you got to hear, especially one about Dejan Giroux. If you haven't heard it already, folks, as y'all know, watching, go to YouTube, Houston Roundball Reviews YouTube channel for the full interview. But you really got to hear the comments Coach Sampson said about Kelvin and the Miami Heat. But first up, we're going to get into Kelvin's comments about Quentin Grimes. And one thing that kind of surprised me, well, not me really, but, folks who may not know this much about Quentin, check this out about Quentin and defense. Yes, defense.
Quentin just got to get experience. It's still basketball, still a 10-foot rim. Free throw line is 15 feet. 9-pound ball. It's still basketball. If you shoot, you can shoot. If you can't shoot, you can't shoot. But if I say what's the most ready-made thing he can do, and I'm sure a lot of people would be shocked at this, is defense. Quentin can guard. If I told the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau knew exactly who he wanted. Quentin was Tom's pick. Tibbs loves defense too. He understands what wins championships. But Quentin has an NBA body. He's 6'5", and he'll bounce between 210 and 215, which is, when Eric Gordon first got in NBA, Eric was about 6'4", and he weighed around 215. That gives those guys a leg up. You think about guys that come in here at 6'3" and weigh 165 pounds, or leave college and they weigh 165, 170. Those guys, they're playing against at this next level in NBA. Those are grown men. So physically, he's going to be able to compete. Athletically, better athlete than you think. Quinn's athletic. He's not a dynamic athlete. Say like a kid we have here, Tajay Moore. But Quentin is athletic. But I think his ability to defend, I think his willingness to go rebound now and lead the break, he's going to be able to do those things. But the roles guys play in college is not the same role they're going to have with the NBA team. Like some guy may average 25 points a game in college. If he goes to Brooklyn Nets, there's a good chance they're going to put his butt in the corner.
How about it, Will? Quentin Grimes can guard. He can play defense.
This is amazing to me that, and in 23 minutes of basketball talk, we've heard these young guys play defense, because that's you don't hear that. You hear, the NBA is pick up basketball. No one guards anybody. They cherry pick. They don't. But you have college coaches, NBA GMs speaking about defense as a hallmark. They haven't talked about it. They very briefly, even at all, talked about offense. So that part right there is amazing to me. But and as he said at the end, coming into the league, you're not going to necessarily be ball dominant in most cases. So you're going to have to come in and be able to contribute in other ways. And so in New York, I think Tibbs is looking for Quentin Grimes to be more of a scorer, but it doesn't hurt his case to be able to defend. And as you said, he's guarded in college. So I don't see why that wouldn't translate to the NBA.
Now, Will, check this out. Tune in to what he says about Dejan Giroux and the Heat.
There was 2 or 3 teams that I thought I think if Miami had a second round choice, we talked to them a lot the last week. And they had a second round choice, and they tried to buy a pick. I think from New Orleans. New Orleans sold it to Philadelphia, but they were trying to buy a pick last night and draft Dejan. Had they had a second round pick, they would have drafted Dejan. They love Dejan. I mean, they targeted him. And through the draft, I was downstairs with Dejan's agent, and he was on the phone with one of the scouts, and he said, Coach Spolster wants to talk to you. And of course, I knew Eric from my time in the NBA. What they love about Dejan is, and I told our kids this morning, New York didn't say anything to me last night about Quentin's shooting. That's what it is. You know, he made 100 threes and he shot around 40%. They didn't mention anything about Dejan's percentages or his shooting. They loved how hard they played. They loved their competitiveness. They loved their toughness. They loved their they want that in their program. They want them to bring that. They love the fact that Dejan can play in pick and rolls. They love the fact that he can get in the paint and make plays. And you know, I don't want to get ahead of this, and I'm not going to say it because it's not my place to say it. But they're going to treat Dejan like he's on the team. You know, in the NBA, you can come in the front door, but there's more and more guys every year coming in the back door. You know, we had 3 guys in the NBA this year, but only 1 got drafted. Look at, I think the Nunn kid, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, don't I have a left-hander for Miami, last name Nunn, that started and played a lot of minutes, am I right?
Yep, Kendrick Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah, well, he didn't get drafted. You know, look at the Dort kid from Arizona State. If my memory serves me right, I think he had 40 in a game this year. It started last year against the Rockets. Against the Rockets during COVID, right? He didn't get drafted. So not getting drafted, you know, before if you didn't get drafted, you know, you probably weren't going to make it. But now there's avenues that those kids can make it if they're good enough. But, you know, the NFL has so many rounds. How many rounds in NFL draft? 7? I think there's 7.
7.
You know, there's every year there's 1,000 kids that think they're going to get drafted, but there's only 60 spots. You know, I haven't really. We've been busy around here all morning, so I really haven't looked at the social media stuff about who's the best players that didn't get drafted last night. But there are a lot of, every year there's always guys that you're shocked that didn't get drafted. And most of those guys will have a momentary, deal with some momentary disappointment. Then as soon as they sign that 2-way deal and they realize they're going to get guaranteed money, and they're going to be in the NBA, and they're going to have an opportunity to make the team, that disappointment leaves very quickly. So Miami, those guys at Miami, Eric, I mean, they love Dejan. I mean, they wanted Dejan. He was their guy. I could tell that last week.
Well, what do you think, man?
Dejan was their guy. I heard a piece of that. I heard a piece of that earlier this week. But again, doing things other than scoring the basketball, pick and roll, how he got in the paint, how he made plays. Those are things that guys in the league are gonna. That's going to keep you in the league. Scoring, being flashy, that may get you to the league, but doing those other. PJ Tucker, prime example. PJ Tucker doesn't score, shoots the corner 3 sometimes, but he does the other things. He defends, he picks, he rolls, he does the little things, the grinding things, the scrapping things. That's kept him in the league, I mean, more than a decade. So those are the types of things, as he said, the players get so caught up and I want to be drafted, I want to do this, I want to do that. Get in the league and do as many things well that you can. And you'll stick around.
Andy, what did you think when Coach Sampson said the comments about Dejan and the Heat?
The thing that stood out to me was how, like you guys have mentioned, both for the Knicks and the Heat, they didn't talk about Quentin or Dejan's offensive numbers or anything like that, especially going to Quentin. I mean, everyone knows he could score. That was kind of his calling card coming out of high school. But essentially what NBA teams are looking at is everything else. And, like he mentioned what Kelvin said, that what Quentin Grimes is, I think he said what Quentin Grimes is ready to do in the NBA right now is defend. That's what he said that's the most that he'd be ready for. And just looking at the season, I mean, U of H would always put Quentin Grimes on the other team's best player, especially if it was a perimeter player. So just that versatility, going back to versatility, that's something that NBA teams, especially now, it seems like they're looking for, and that's what they're attracted to nowadays.
One more thing, and I'm just going to toss it out there, Andy, you know this also. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock Central Time, season ticket sales, Coogs men's basketball go on sale at 10 a.m. Y'all can go to the website, uhcougars.com, call the number. Y'all know all that stuff. You can go to my website, fourth article, HoustonRoundballReview.com, and I think Daily Cougar has an article about it as well. So there's an FYI. I think tickets are going to go fast. You haven't already got them, waiting list or whatever. It's going to be waiting list. It's a hot ticket. So it should be another great season. Coach Sampson, he touched on him a little bit. Tajay Moore, maybe the best athlete on the team, and probably going to come off the bench. Maybe a 7th, 8th man coming off the bench, 7th, 8th, 9th coming off the bench, depending on how things go. So 28-4 last year, made it to the Final Four. I'm not going to predict Final Four trip, Andy, but they'll be good again. They'll be the tournament team again. They'll be top 15 most of the season, if not the entire season. It's going to be another fun time at Fertitta Center. Andy, have you thought about how many wins the team may get this season?
I have not, but I'd probably go in the range. Probably around 25 for the minimum, because in 2019-20 they finished like 24-8 the last full season before COVID.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like this roster that they have upcoming for this season is a little bit more better than that year's team. So I'd imagine they do have a tough schedule, especially with the non-conference games that they have. But if I had to put right now, I'd probably go around the 25 win mark, and wouldn't be surprised if they went north of that.
Yeah, got non-conference matchups that have been announced. Home against Virginia, neutral site against Oklahoma State, on the road against Alabama. So then they're going to the Maui Invitational, chance to play Oregon there. So, and who's the first-round matchup? First-round matchup is against Butler, I think,
Butler.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's a tough non-conference schedule. It's an indicator that Coach Sampson believes in his squad and believes what he has. I think he believes in the potential of the team. And as he said, as we've learned, covering the team since he's been head coach, is his job is for them to get better. October to November, November to December, December to January, January, February, and then by March, you're playing the best basketball. So I think they're on their way to doing that. Now I want to shift gears just as an indication to some folks who say, "Oh, Kris only covers. You don't discuss with the Cougars. He only does this, that, and the other." All right, this is for you and those haters out there. A little clip from Scott Parra, head coach of the Rice Owls, talking about draft pick Troy Murphy. When did you get the sense that Trey was going to get drafted and then get drafted in the first round?
Look, I had a belief when he was a freshman that if he kept on his trajectory of growing, first of all, physically, and on his work ethic, that someday we might be sitting here. I probably thought it would be after his senior year at Rice, but I thought he had a chance. You say that sometimes, and what is that chance? I don't know, because it's all really hard, and there's a lot of variables. But I'm as happy as I am, and as kind of surreal this all is, I'm not shocked.
Coach, I don't want to put pressure on your current squad, but do you see pro possibilities for any of those guys?
I'd probably answer this the same way I would answer it with Trey on the roster. You know, it's just really hard, Chris. Look at the guys last night that did not get drafted. It is amazing. Look at the college careers they had, and they did not get drafted. And then you look at a guy, one of the guys went in the first round and averaged 8 points a game. So it's all, the NBA is a different animal. What they're looking for, what they think translates, is just really hard to project. So like I tell all our guys in all our recruiting meetings, and even the guys on our team, control what you can control and value this education. Because no matter what happens, this place is a separator when you get your degree. And hopefully some of our guys, you know, they do have that dream. And I want them to have that dream. And I want to help them try and achieve that dream. But it takes a lot of variables for it to happen. So we just keep our nose down and work. And that's kind of how we approach it.
Will, Coach Scott Perra, once again, reiterating your point, getting into the NBA is not all about scoring.
Right.
You know, it's little things as well. It's little things. It's, you know, it's defense. It really is being elite at something. Elite. Get your foot in the door, and then you got to work. Put in the work, the effort, the grind. It helps to have one team like you.
Right.
You know, being drafted first round is guaranteed money. But once you get that guaranteed money, that's not a guarantee you're going to stay in the league.
Right.
You still got to put in the work daily. You got to get better daily. You can't listen to your buddies, your hangers on, saying, "Yo, man, you got it made now, man. You getting this money? You got the bag. You're good." If you want to stay in the league, you have to work to stay in the league. What are your thoughts on that, Will?
Oh, it's true. I mean, you gotta whatever got you there, maximize that, multiply that to the 10th power. Because as I think it was Coach Sampson, one of the clips earlier, they have guys coming in the back door. You're in here now, but they always have somebody. I mean, if I could look at the NFL, you know, there's a 53, 55 man roster, but every Tuesday they bring players in to work out for those 51, 52, 53, 54th player roster spots. So you can't get comfortable. You can't get complacent. You have to continue to work. And some guys, unfortunately, do. You know, they get mesmerized by the glitz and the glamour and the club, the bottle service and clubbing and things of that nature. And they get caught up and they lose their spots. But more times than not, you know, it's a business and you have to treat it as such. Well, all the time it's a business and you have to treat it as such. Yeah, you have, you know, fringe benefits, if you will. But at the end of the day, what got you there is what's going to continue to allow those benefits to manifest and to come your way.
Andy, you want to get your thoughts on this, and Will too. Russell Westbrook going to the Lakers. It'll be official August 6th when basically the new season begins financially. Teams can begin negotiating with free agents August 2nd at 5 p.m. Central Time. Negotiating.
Begin?
Yeah. Negotiating. It'd be a miracle how at 5:01 so-and-so Team X has agreed to a 4-year, $140 million contract with player Y. Boy, that sure was a quick negotiation. How'd they do that? But anyway, Andy, Russ to the Lakers. Were you surprised? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was surprised for two reasons. One, I didn't expect the Lakers to be able to pull it off just in terms of what they ended up giving up. It was an interesting trade for Washington, getting Kyle Kuzma, Harrell, and a couple of other pieces.
KCP.
Right. And I don't know. I think Washington is such a. Honestly, I have no idea where they are in the timeline. Do they feel like they can build a true contender around Bradley Beal and compete in the Eastern Conference, or they kind of seem to be stuck in limbo? From the Lakers' perspective, I think it's another their Showtime. It's another must see show, and just in terms of if those three, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, fit. It's certainly an interesting style that all three of them play, and especially in the season that Westbrook had here in Houston, where both he and Harden were dominant players, and it was an interesting dynamic. It's kind of a similar situation with the Lakers, just in terms of LeBron has kind of transitioned into that facilitator the past couple of seasons as he's gotten a little older. It'll be interesting to see which one of them ends up taking a step back in terms of having the ball in their hands. And for Westbrook, this is going to be the best team he's probably been in, at least talent-wise, that he's been since Kevin Durant was probably in Oklahoma City. So it'll be interesting to see if he can finally help a team get to the finish line, get that Larry O'Brien trophy.
Will, is this a good fit for the Lakers?
A good fit for the Lakers. I'm trying to make myself like this trade in all sincerity. Yes, for a couple reasons. One, it allows LeBron in year 19 to not have to do all the heavy lifting. I mean, uncertainty with AD, his health. Hopefully this offseason he's preparing his body for the rigors of an 82-game season. But recent past has shown us he may not be around for all 82. And again, in year 19, LeBron doesn't want to have to do all the heavy lifting. He can. He doesn't want to. And I think the acquisition of Russ will allow him to remain fresher for the playoffs. It also brings them another defender. For whatever reason, I think a lot of people forget Russ can defend. And
When he wants to.
When he wants to. And I think with this trade, him coming to LA, he's going to put on for his city. He's coming home. I think he's going to want to put on for his city. He's not the shooter that the Lakers need, but I think that need to be filled later on in free agency, with a number of players. I was kind of upset when I first heard about the trade because that same package could have brought back Buddy Hield.
Maybe even one less player.
Right. And Buddy Hield makes about $18 million less than Russ. And then I thought about it. I said, I don't ever in the NBA want to hear again, we're having problems moving this contract. We're not going to be able to move this contract. Russ has been traded for 4 straight off seasons, making $40+ million a year. 44.2 coming up this season.
And been traded twice.
Right. So I don't ever want to hear that. Kobe Altman, Cleveland Cavaliers, that we're having problems moving this contract. There's no way. There's no way. It can get done when they want it to get done.
Well, put on for the city. He will. Is that a good thing, though? Well, I mean, at what point Russ is a volume shooter? He's not a great shooter. Okay. He's going to take some shots where opponents are like, thank you, Russ. Thank you for jacking up that 25 footer on the break. Thank you, Russ, for taking that step back baseline jumper that hit the backboard. Thank you, Russ, for doing those things.
Right.
Yes, the Lakers are going to find a way to get the vet minimums to fill out the roster. I just wonder how this is going to fit, man. I mean, Russ is not, as we got a comment on our questions from Rockets Red Glare. It's bad spacing. Russ needs to attack the paint, play downhill. Who's gonna out of those three, out of that big three? AD he's an unwilling low post scorer. So he could be the 3 points out of those three. You know, LeBron can score on the low post, but you know, LeBron is up there in age. He doesn't want to have to do it all the time. I need to see. I mean, it's August 1st. We got to see who else is going to join the team. What 3-point shooter is going to join the team? It won't be boring. You know, Lakers didn't have a problem selling out tickets. That won't be an issue. They're going to be on TV the maximum number of times. What is it, 23 times national television? That won't be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, I say all that. If they're healthy, the Clippers aren't healthy. Kawhi's maybe out for the whole year.
And he just opted out.
You know, well, he'll come back to this. Yeah, he'll resign for a longer deal.
Yeah.
Chris Paul opted out. You know, same thing with Phoenix. He's probably going to resign for a longer deal to stay in Phoenix. A healthy Lakers, could they be the best team in the West without Kawhi being healthy?
Oh, I think so.
I think they could, but that's a big if, just in terms of what we've seen the past few seasons. I mean, all three of those players, Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Westbrook, have had challenges just being able to still stay healthy the past few seasons. So I think it's a big if. But, I mean, we saw a little bit this past season. I mean, early in the season, before all the injuries piled up for the Lakers, they looked like they were going to be in a real good position to be able to defend their title and be a top seed in the West. And then all the injuries derailed any momentum that they had at the beginning. So I think just having LeBron on your team, they'll end up figuring out a way to figure the fit stuff out. But if they can't stay healthy, it might be all for naught.
Could Russ's ego – no. Could LeBron and Russ's egos clash? Could LeBron – it's LeBron's team. You know, Russ
Right.
maybe Russ's city. It's LeBron's team. LeBron says to Russ, yo, man, I know you know, hey, you from here and all that kinds of whatever. You're still my league. Definitely still my team. You need to fit in. You need to do what we need to do to win. If you're good with that, we're going to be okay. If not, we're going to have a problem. Okay. As promised, and I'm just going to let her, because I don't know how she pronounces her name, but I was tired of referring to her as Alperen Sengun's translator. So I reached out to the Rockets, and I got this young lady's name. So joining us, just
Deniz Aksoy.
I was close. Deniz Aksoy. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it on a kind of short notice. And you mentioned you were working.
Yeah, I was working actually. I was talking with Turkey, with the radio station, about the things that are going on over here. So I was working. I'm sorry, I'm on it. Like I was a bit delayed. Yes, but I'm here with you guys, and I'm actually a TV presenter in Turkey. And I have a basketball talk show. I do it with the basketball stars and the legends, and I have guests every week. And I ask questions about their lives and then their careers, and yeah.
How long have you been a TV presenter and had that experience? How long have you been doing that?
Radio for a year, TV for 3 years, and then I have also a show. It's like a platform like Netflix in Turkey, which is called Gain. I have a show out there too. So I have 3 shows, and I've been doing all these 3 shows for 1 year.
Okay, well that leads to a question. Are you going to be with the Rockets the entire season in Alperen, or go back to Turkey?
I don't know. I don't know anything, but I think I'm going back to Turkey. I have no idea. Because so the thing is, I was here in the States to cover the NBA finals for Turkey. I was covering the finals. I was in Phoenix, Milwaukee, and then after I went to New York, and Alperen is my friend. So we met there, and everything happened super quickly, and I didn't even know that I would come to Houston. So it's just everything is a last minute thing. Everything was a last minute thing.
Okay, well that was one of my questions. Was how did you get assigned to help him out? So when was that?
So my first translating time with Alperen was with Mike Schmitz when he did for ESPN, and so it happened like it was the first time, and I know him for a year, so yeah.
And after I got your name, I saw Mike's tweet about you, referencing you in the tweet to help during the interview. So that's how I was like, oh, so there she is. So okay.
Yeah, that is right. That is correct. Yes.
What does Alperen think of the Rockets, Houston, NBA, anything like that?
What is Alperen's, excuse me?
And what does he think so far of the city of Houston?
Oh, he loves it. That's the thing. He loves the city. He says the city is beautiful. He likes the food, everything, like whatever we've done for these, in these 3 days, we love it. And he says like he loves it. So yeah, that's
what do you think of the city of Houston?
I love it. It's just very nice. It's beautiful. People are so nice. And when I was taking Uber, I saw two females like separately, in two different cars, and I'm like, women are so strong here because I love to see strong women, females. So I just love it. The city is amazing. People are so nice. Food is nice. Roads are big. Everything is clean. So I really like it.
Will you be able to go with the team to Las Vegas for the summer league?
I don't know about that either. Like, I just don't. For now, I really have no clue and no idea. Might be yes and might be no.
Do you know when you might find out?
Yeah, I don't know. In these days, for sure. Yeah. I'll find it out.
Andy, Will, y'all have any questions for Deniz?
Yeah, she kept saying how she liked the city. I'm interested. Do you like the weather here?
Andy, so I was in Phoenix for 2 times, and it was like total like 8 days I was in Phoenix for the NBA finals. Trust me, after like being in Phoenix, here is good. It's nice, it's not that dry. The heat is not that dry, and I like it. But ACs are so strong in the States, because in Europe, like, you don't feel that much about like that strong AC weather, like indoor, that cold.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's a bit cold indoor and inside of the places, but outdoor Houston is better than Phoenix, so I can say that, but I don't dislike the weather. It's okay, it's fine. We're in summer, so it's okay. I cannot complain.
Will, you have any questions for her?
No,
Right.
not-
And another question. Oh,
Go ahead, Andy.
yeah, I just had I'm curious from your perspective, how different is the NBA game, basketball, in terms of how it's played internationally?
It is, you want me to do the comparison between NBA and the EuroLeague, like Europe games?
Yes.
Yes.
So NBA comparing to EuroLeague, NBA is super fast. Everything is fast. It's a show, next to EuroLeague. EuroLeague is you have to think twice when you dribble the ball. You have to think, you have to read the court wisely. But here you have strongest, most talented, most athletic, maybe smartest players who are playing for this league, for NBA, because NBA is the hugest organization. It's the biggest one in the world as basketball organization. So everything is fast on the court because it's a show. It's a total show. So it has to be fast, especially like we're living on 2021. We want to see everything fast, everything quick. We want to watch, short video clips. We want to listen short podcasts. Like, we don't want to see long and, slow version of anything. We want to see everything fast. So NBA, for this 2021, I'm talking about this age, this era's NBA is fast, and that's the biggest difference comparing to European basketball.
How long have you been following a fan of sports? Were you an athlete growing up? How did you get interested in sports?
So my father used to be the doctor of, maybe this club called FS Pilsen.
Yes.
Big club in I think one of the biggest club in Europe, and he used to be the doctor of the team for 25 years. So I grew up in the gym you know, with the basketball players, with Conrad McRae, with Kaspar Kambala, with so many legends and amazing players. And I studied media. I lived in Italy for 9 years, so I studied media out there, and I wanted to, you know, do my passion with my work. Like I wanted to combine those two, and that's how I ended up being the basketball. And I only do basketball and Formula One. Maybe you know what Formula One is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I only do because they always asked me about to do the, you know, football, soccer, or I don't know, other sports, and I always said no because I want to do what I know the best and what I love the most. And that's why I've been doing this thing since, for 10 years now.
Was it difficult for you to start in the business?
No, it was not. It was not because I started with the intern in this team, and then I started to do internship in, you know, many different media companies in Europe, in Italy, and because, you know, you have to work. You have to come, we say it in Turkey, you have to work from the kitchen to come on the top of the hotel, you know, as a manager. So you know every single detail. You have to do what it has to take, and you have to learn, you have to understand from every single one's perspective, whatever you want to do in life, as work, as job. And that's why I've done like many things as internship, you know, as volunteer, as everything. And I'm blessed, and I feel lucky to do this job and to do this business.
Well, Deniz Aksoy, thank you very much for reaching out. Well, I'll reach out to you, and you didn't shoo me away. So thank you for taking these few minutes to join us. Is there anything you want the people who are tuning in right now to know about you, or how they can find you on social media, things like that?
Well, they already found me. Honestly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. The Rocket fans, the Rocket fans were.
Yeah, they're just. But I really love them. Really amazing. They showed love, and they're amazing. And my social media is like my name, you know, Deniz Aksoy. And thank you for love. Thank you for the support. And guys, Alperen is yours. You know, take care of him. Like, we love him in Turkey, and he loves this place, and he'll be amazing this season. He's super dedicated from already, like, today. You know, he was saying, like, I'm so dedicated, and I cannot wait to get the ball in my hands and then just dribble and score and do whatever it takes. So, you know, we're so happy for Alperen, and I'm so happy to be in this city. And yeah, thank you.
Just one last question out of curiosity. How good is his English right now?
He's learning. I mean, he's gonna learn. I think it's gonna be super quick for him to get to, you know grammar first, and then after he has to learn about the words, because I think grammar is the most important part of every single language. I know 4 languages, so I have to. Every time what I had to learn as a language, I had to learn grammar first. I think it work with the study with the teacher, so I think he's gonna learn quickly.
This is great. Thank you very much. You take care, and may see you somewhere down the line at a basketball arena. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to close out this before hopefully AD joins us. Little clip from the rookies who were at Rockets press conference on Friday. 3 of the rookies, like I said, Usman Garuba is in Tokyo with Team Spain. Check this out.
I think that they're going to see a lot of exciting plays, a lot of growth, and just that dog mentality with me. I'm going to try and come on the court and give it my all, 110% every time, stepping between those lines. So, yeah, they're going to see every time.
I'm going to come in and battle. I think I'm fearless. So, you know, whoever we have to lace them up against, I'm going to be ready. You're going to see players who are going to put in work night in and night out. We'll have practice, come back to the gym, get shots up before. Just guys that want to get better, man. I think I'm one of those guys. Yeah, just exciting. We want to get out and run. We have a lot of young guys, so we might as well use our young legs and go.
Yani çok heyecanlıyız. Yani hayatım boyunca buralara zor şartlar altında geldim. Ve basketbol sahasında da her zaman savaşçı bir ruhum vardır. Asla maçı bırakmam ve her zaman kazanmaya odaklı oynarım. Elimden geleni yapacağım burada. Çok genç bir takımız, çok iyi bir takıma sahip olduğumuzu düşünüyorum. Bu sene bence çok büyük işler başaracağız. Ben de bu takım için yeni genç oyunculardan biri olarak elimden gelen her şeyi yapacağım.
The way the path I took to be here in my life, it was not easy for me. And now we are here, and I will be battling for this team, and I will put everything out there to show how good we are. And we have a good and a young team, so we will show how to battle in the maximum level.
Show how to battle at the maximum level. I like that. I like that. You know, I like hearing that. I think that was pretty cool. Wanted to close out with that clip from 3 of the Rockets rookies. Basketball talk for that first hour of Houston Roundball Reviews, folks talking sports. Now we're going to shift gears and talk some Texans. Houston Texans with Adolphus A.D. Moore. He's not a rookie to this, but in fact, he and I were on we recorded a show Friday for WHTK in Rochester, New York, one of the iHeart affiliates in Rochester, New York. So, as I've said, folks know, follow Houston Roundball Review, local name, national perspective. But it's getting cool now because maybe global. Got a guy from Turkey, in Alperen Sengun, and Jalen Green and his Filipino heritage. So, Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective. And with that, going to bring in Adolphus A.D. Moore, as we always do. Mr. Moore, how are you, sir?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Boy, I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I'm feeling like the fifth hitter in the lineup, man. What, last week you had Duarte, Sam Khan. I got to follow behind Deniz Aksoy. I'm almost feeling like, do I need to go back and put some more rosin on my hands, or maybe start tapping the basket, the baseball up? Maybe want to start throwing some spitters or something, man. I'm almost feeling like I belong here with you guys, man.
This is what we do, AD. This is what I want people to who are watching us. This is what we do. This is my vision that I'm glad that Willie and Andy are sharing it with me. They're part of it. AD, I'm glad you're part of it as well. This is what part of what I have planned to do. Going forward, we're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk some baseball. Right now, we're going to talk Texans, but this is what we're going to do. So, Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir.
The Texans were off today. I think you've been at practice. They started on Wednesday?
Wednesday. Texas practice started Wednesday. And
what have you seen? Have you cried yet? But shaking your head, what have you seen?
It's still a composition. It's a mosaic composition that is still being composed. It's pieces. There are pieces out there. Is there any pieces coming together? Being any transformative pitches being developed right now? In my humble opinion, no. But I can say this with pretty much a certainty that Tyrod Taylor will be the starting quarterback when the Texans open up the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars, unless something unforeseeable happens, that he will be the starting quarterback. And be quite candid with you, I hope they have another quarterback in waiting, because David Mills he's a rookie, and when you look at Jeff Driscoll on Saturday, they were in red zone coverage, and Justin Reed just had a field day off of Jeff Driscoll in practice. So I'm going like, man, we know Tyrod. I'm just hoping like Tyrod can stay healthy for the season, and possibility maybe push come to shove. We'll see. But what's interesting, I had a sidebar with Whitney Merciless. Merciless, was a number 1 draft pick in 2012. And Whitney, with the exception of a handful of other guys, Chris, Willie, and Andy, I don't know these guys, man. I mean, I know guys coming from other teams and so forth, but this roster has been turned over by in excess of 50 new players out there. There used to be a strong Clemson connection, and once Deshaun Watson leaves here, man, I think we might have one Clemson player. At one time, there this was almost getting ready to be Clemson South with DeAndre Hopkins and Rita and the rest of the guys and those boys there from Clemson. But it seems like now that the Texans might either are souring on the Clemson players or they're not there. But there's a cadre of many personalities out there. And so, as I stated, it's a mosaic. It's a messed up mosaic, and we're just trying to see it come into fruition. Now they got one more day in non-pads and then in shell, and then they go into the pads on Tuesday. So, a lot of the as I say, watching practices like that with them running through the way things are, it's about like watching paint dry. But unless you know what you really want to look at and want to take a look at and so forth. As I mentioned, going back to Wednesday, everybody knew that Deshaun was in camp. And man, you talking about like a swarm of locusts. As soon as Deshaun showed up, every camera, even my camera, was pointed on Deshaun. And he took part in a few drills, and he I think he ran scout team safety that Wednesday. He ran the third team offense that Wednesday. But as far as the Thursday, Friday, and yesterday, just with the exception of a few passing drills, that was it. But I'll go back to my point. Tyrod Taylor will be the starting quarterback when they take on the Jacksonville Jaguars on September the 12th here at 12 noon in NRG Stadium.
I got one more question for you, AD, then I'll toss it to Andy and Willie. When will Deshaun be traded, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I would probably like to say probably for the beginning of the season, but Chris, I'll be quite candid with you. Your guess is good as mine. I might as well bet Andy can go win 100 meters now in Tokyo. Oh, I'm sorry, that's already over with. Sorry, Andy, I was going to let you go run 100 meters. but who knows, man? I mean, at this point, just sort of talking around some of the guys, some of the other media personnel, theory that I firmly believe, and this is just me from talking and just talking to some other attorneys that I know. I think there's some quiet negotiations going on, Chris. I think they're trying to get this thing settled. However, of the 22 ladies that have filed a civil complaint, 10 of them now have filed a criminal complaint with the Houston Police Department. And so that's under investigation. So, and nothing's heard, which is good. And that's what you want with an investigation, particularly a criminal investigation of this ilk, that they've taken their time and they've been very meticulous about how the outcome of this situation. So at this point, I would like to say prior to the season. Realistically, I think one of the biggest questions, why hasn't the commissioner put him on the exemption list? Because Chris, and I think Willie, Andy, and you all of y'all seen guys get put on the commissioner's exemption list for far less indiscretions than what Deshaun has been alleged to have been involved in. So that's another thing. Plus, and I'm wondering if it's a lot of had to do with that big contract and that big signing bonus that he signed with. I don't know. That's speculation. That's just my speculation on my part.
Andy?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. One, you mentioned you feel like the Texans are working to get a deal done before the regular season starts in terms of Deshaun, but I'm curious, say that doesn't happen. Do you see them just ending up having Deshaun Watson inactive, or how do you feel that dynamic would end up working if he's still on the roster by the time they play the Jaguars?
He'll be. I think you're right, Andy. I think you sort of put your finger on it. Deshaun will not suit up as a Texan. It's kind of ironic, and it's kind of ironic that you asked that question, Andy, because a couple of media guys, we just sort of were bouncing some things around, and somebody just postulated, just suppose that him and Cal just sort of buried the hatch and just went on, and then he becomes And I sort of looked at him like, no way in hell. I mean, you might as well be selling Eskimo pies in Arizona and not Houston, Texas on the corner if that's the case. I don't see that happening. So
Will, any question for AD more, Will?
Yeah, AD, I appreciate it. My question is, who has Deshaun's ear? Because first and foremost, these are allegations without question.
Yes.
These are alleged incidents that are being reported. And you know, 1, 3, 5, 7, perhaps. But 22, at what point?
How about 26, Will? If the number got past 20, number got up to 26. However,
26.
I'm gonna come back and answer your question.
Sure.
You realize that there are 18 ladies on the other side that said they've never had any indiscretionable issues with Deshaun. I just want that out for the record.
Thank you. I did not know that.
Yeah, there have been now that folks may want to cast dispersions on their character. I don't know. I can't tell you because see, all of the allegations, and like I say, I have to refer to them as allegations because if I have to refer to them as facts, that means I'm present. As far as I'm concerned, I wasn't present, and Kris wasn't present. I don't think Kris, were you present? No,
sir. Nope.
Andy, I don't know. I mean, are you old enough to be out past 12 o'clock? You're young looking. And see, Willie, I don't know. You don't look like you hang with little baby or nobody that making honey bricks and throwing.
I don't do no honey buns, bro.
But now, but if I'm, getting back to your question, Will, I'll be quite candid with you. That's a question that I have sort of kicked around. Kris and I, we've definitely kicked it around off the air and just and here's the thing. You got to understand, and this is a point that I've made. Remember, Deshaun at Clemson was, he was the gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you're in the NFL now. I don't need anything from Deshaun. I never, and I've always tried to keep a relationship, a distant relationship. I tried to keep it on a professional agenda with the athletes that I cover. The late Max Edison, which Kris knows real well, we all tried to establish a rapport, but we tried to keep there certain things that we tried to, as a person who had traveled some roads and seen some things, a lot more than what these young guys are seeing. Because remember, I'll put it like this: I go back to the Houston Oilers days. Okay, I've seen some things. And when we come out that back door, we used to come out from an Oilers game and come out that back door going to our car, and you used to see some things, and you just sort of go like, okay, and just you see and you don't see. Mm-hmm. All right. And you could have conversations, and you could just sort of grab say a guy like Andy, and I'm not picking on you, Andy, but you can sort of like, hey man, come here, let me put a bug in your ear and something to that ilk. When these guys have been on that level and have gotten that type of on that platform and on that stage, folks are coming at them, and so. And I'm pretty sure that Deshaun, he would the lifestyle and house that he was raised in, he's pretty careful about the type of people who's around him. However, I would tell you one thing. I know one thing. I wouldn't be using Instagram to be making appointments. I wouldn't be doing that. Okay. I would not be putting myself out like that. And so, I mean, but remember, Andy, again, I'm not picking on you, but see, you're probably in that generation. I don't know what they call it. I got after X, Y, and Z, I quit trying to figure out what generation. I mean, I have high school kids that I deal with, and they try to pull one on me like I don't know a thing about social media and so forth, but. I understand now that the new variable right now is TikTok and everything right now. I'll keep up with it. I understand what's going on to that extent, but I don't think I would be making contact or making dates on Instagram. I don't think so. Not me.
AD.
Yes.
Let's go down the schedule. Because, see, you opened it up. You said it on the show we recorded.
Yep.
You said four wins.
I say probably 4.
Okay,
No, I said 4.
You said 4.
I did say 4.
And one of them was Jacksonville.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
First game of the season, regular season.
Yep.
Is Jacksonville. That's the home game. Is that the one win right there? That one win right there. That's the one. That's one.
That's one.
Okay. What do you say? What does it say about Jacksonville? If the Texans beat Jacksonville, what does that say?
That they just beat Jacksonville. Come on, you got 2. Look here. Let's face it. You got Urban Meyer. Everybody think Urban Meyer is going to walk in there. Remember, this is not the University of Florida anymore. This is not Ohio State anymore.
Will, chime in right there. Will, you know about Mr. Urban Meyer? What are your thoughts about Urban Meyer at Jacksonville?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I think Urban, he's in store for a rude awakening. Urban Meyer lost 9 games in 7 years at Ohio State.
Are you saying he might lose 9 games this first season in Jacksonville?
Yeah, if not more.
You know, hey, Willie, you made a good point because remember, Urban has a problem losing.
Yep.
Remember, he can't digest lose. I mean, I don't know anybody that likes to lose. I don't mean just stand up and just willfully like a pinata and just be like, hey, I'll get beat, But that stress, and I'm still to this day trying to figure out, okay, how are you going to do with a 16 game schedule and the ups and downs? How are you going to do? Remember, because and you know this for a fact with the Buckeyes, somebody get hurt up at Ohio State, next man up, and that next man up. That's a you got a 5-star running second team. You probably have a 4-star running third team. Remember, you only allow 52 guys on the league, but you're not going to suit out all. And then you got a 10 or 12 man practice squad. And then you steady turning that over on a weekly basis. And I know he reached out and gave Tim Tebow, or that was sort of like a personal thing. But if Tim Tebow's on that roster come the opening day when the Texans play, yeah, I can see them beating the Texans beating Jacksonville.
Week 2.
Cleveland? Nah.
Okay, so we 1-1. 1-1. Week 3. Carolina Panthers. Yeah.
They may lose by a field goal.
Week 4 at Buffalo. Yeah, you were trash talking with the guys with this. At Buffalo,
yeah.
Week 4.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. The Texans are gonna sneak up on somebody. Somebody's gonna look up. Oh, the Texans on the schedule, and they're gonna take them for granted. I'm hoping to be at that game because I'm going up there because we were trash. At least I was. You weren't trash talking. I was doing all the trash talking up there. That might be I'll call that my upset of the early part of the season.
Okay, so 2-2. Well, okay, AD. All right. Week 5, Patriots.
The Patriots South take up the New England Patriots North. Because that's basically what we have right now.
Right. That'll be at NRG. So, will the original Patriots beat the Patriots light?
Well, you remember the Patriots have a pretty successful record. They won a Super Bowl here in that same stadium. So I'm pretty sure that even without Tom Brady, they'll walk out with a victory.
Okay, so that's 2-3. Week 6 at Indy.
If Carson Wentz is still with a bad foot, I think they probably can go in there and walk in there and steal a game. Because Carson Wentz is undetermined when he might be back.
Oh boy, AD, you giving the coaches or something a whole lot of credit, stealing games and stuff like this. Okay, so is that a win for the Texans? 3-3, 3-3. Is that what you're saying?
Possibility, but more likely the coach. I don't think they not.
No, AD. I know you long enough.
They won't beat the coach.
Okay, yeah, no possibility. We gonna pick something today. Okay, 2-4 at Arizona.
They won't beat Arizona.
2-5.
No, because they're between DeAndre Hopkins and because D Hop gonna probably be looking for at least 4 touchdowns, He's gonna try to get 4 touchdowns, and JJ will probably want to have at least 4 or 5 sacks. So no, I don't see it.
All right, 2-5. Week 8, the Rams.
No.
2-6. Okay. Week 9, at the Dolphins.
No.
Okay. That's 2-7. Got a bye week, week 10. Week 11, at Tennessee.
Are you kidding? No.
Okay.
Chris.
All right. Hey, I'm
That's
going
the
on
week
the
to
schedule.
start. That's the week to start Derrick Henry in fantasy. That's what that week is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, come on, Derrick Henry. I mean, come on. What are you gonna have? What, about 235 yards that game? Probably.
Okay, so 2-8. Week 12.
Yes.
The
The Jets. Yes.
Got to win.
Got to win.
Okay. That's 3 wins, Andy. You hear that? 3 wins. Okay. Week 13. Home for the Colts.
They'll lose.
Okay. We're still at 3 wins. 3-9. Week 14. Seattle.
Russell Wilson lose.
3-10.
Remember, Dwayne Brown will come back in here. He'll be at that left tackle. They'll probably be running to the left side all night, because Dwayne Brown going to prove that he still should have been here. Y'all got rid of me ahead of time. So Dwayne Brown along with Russell Wilson, they'll lose.
All right. Week 15 at Jacksonville.
No.
Okay. Still at 3 wins. And okay. Week 16. Home for San Diego.
Win.
Ooh.
What?
I didn't stutter.
Okay, that's 4 wins. Andy, you hear that? We ain't got about 4 wins. 4 wins. Week 17 at the 49ers.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. And then close it out, because it's 17 games now. Week 18, home with Titans.
No. Even if Derrick Henry sitting on the bench.
Okay, so 4 wins.
Yeah.
Andy, Will, your thoughts on that?
That seems to be the consensus among really just anyone that's covered the Texans, and honestly, probably nationally. I'm sure that no one has high opinions for the Texans. I don't, like AD said, I could certainly see the Texans sneaking up on some teams if they take them lightning, any given Sunday. But with the expectations, especially just in terms of where the roster is, so much turnover, so much inconsistent. And I have a question for you, AD. What are your thoughts on David Culley and what you've seen from him after the first week of training camp?
Very enthusiastic, first-time coach. This is interesting, guys. He's walking around with a cheat sheet because none of the players have names on the back of their jerseys, and obviously he doesn't even know any of those players. He has a special roster, and he walks around with that. He doesn't even know all the guys. And so, but here's the deal. Romeo Cornell is still as a consultant. All right. Romeo is out there. He's going to lean on Romeo a lot. He has Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith was carried the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts. First time he had 2 black head coaches, Tony Dungy and the Chicago Tony Dungy of the Indianapolis Colts against the Chicago Bears. All right. Lovie Smith he's going to lean on Lovie a whole lot. Those 2 guys right there, I think he's going to have to lean on a whole lot. He's enthusiastic. He's first-time head coaching job. Did I expect him to have this head coaching job in Houston? Andy, if I said yes, I would be lying. No. I think after the situation, I think with Nick Casares and them, what they're looking at, and I'm hoping I would like to be wrong, but I think because remember, it's a ton of 1-year contracts that the Texans have signed players with option year. So the attitude is, hey, we got to put a team out on the field. That will be some guy that's going to be on offense. That's going to be 11 guys with that steel blue helmet on. On defense, it's going to be 11 guys with a name on the back of the jersey, and it's going to say Houston Texans. So we're going to see. Now, are there some players with some? There are some solid players there. They got, but
who?
Jason Reed. I think Reed is going. I mean, realistically, hey man, come on. You still got Zach Cunningham out there. Zach is a thumper. Zach will start on any team in this league. Zach Cunningham. there are a few players that they have to build around. Not a whole lot of players to build around, but there's a few players to build around. But you know what? They gonna get it. That's why I'm looking at when Deshaun was traded. They traded for draft picks. They and what at minimum 2 first round, a couple of seconds, maybe a third. So I mean, this is a rebuilding mode. What was interesting Saturday, guys, they had the season ticket holders out there. Now I don't know if any of y'all had a chance to, if you haven't experienced when the Texans and the crowd when they got fans there. You talking about just a barn burner. I mean, you talking about an atmosphere. I thought I was at a wake for a while there. I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't that atmosphere that I've been used to when the fans are there. Okay, it just wasn't. And I realized these were the season ticket holders, and I know they probably being a little hardy-tardy or whatever the case. But when they got the fans out there, I mean, it's rocking and rolling out there in a practice session, and for the and to me, I'm sort of going like, and somebody had to remind me these are the season ticket holders. I said, oh, okay, all right. Now they did have a bunch of youth football team players. The teams was there practice Saturday as well, but atmospheric wise, I'm just calling it like I see it, guys. And it could be a long season. It could be a very long season.
All right, AD, thank you very much for joining us. How can folks find you on social media? Because we're going to close it out with the three of us, me, Willie, and Andy. Going to wrap it up. But how can folks find you on social media going forward for the season?
Going forward, the website, obviously you'll find me on the Roundball area. My segments on the Houston Roundball, but you can catch me on Twitter at AD_Moore64. I'm probably my biggest thing on Twitter. Yeah, occasionally you'll catch me. I'll drop some things on Facebook, but I'm not. I hadn't. Of course, if Andy can teach me how to do Instagram or TikTok, I might. I might do that, guys. But hey, man, really, I appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all for letting me squeeze in. I'm hoping I filled the fifth spot in the batting order, because after last week and then I had to come behind that dynamic young lady, that turkey interpreter, man. I'm going, I didn't want to be like a fish out of water. I hope I was a hammerhead shark or a black tip shark or something, and not a little a little guppy or something in the water.
AD, you did fine, man. Thank you very much. And going forward, he'll have his own at the AdMax Corner. We'll do football specifically, streaming those shows maybe after Texans football games throughout the season. So we meet AD chopping it up after the Texans lose more than 13 times this year. So AD, thanks, man. Take care and keep in touch. I'll talk to you in a few minutes after the show. Okay.
Appreciate it, guys. Hey, guys, y'all appreciate it. Thank y'all for letting the guy just come in there and share the spotlight with you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you again.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us.
All right. Will, you got anything to close out? Because I want to touch on real thing. The irony. Last week, Texas A&M people were hot. They were just hot. There's no way in hell we're going to allow the Longhorns into the SEC. The Board of Regents met Wednesday, Thursday, 8-1 in favor, agreeing to vote with the conference for the Longhorns to join the SEC. What happened? What happened there?
Somebody saw a balance sheet.
Yeah.
Somebody saw a balance sheet. Like, do you realize when they come in here, we have this now, we will have this? Oh, okay. 8-1. Let's go.
And then the SEC extended the invitation, unanimous vote, 14-0. Unanimous vote the day after that, inviting Texas and Oklahoma to the conference. I thought there was going to be a problem with this. What's the problem? I'm shocked. I'm shocked. What happened there?
And don't tell me this July 1, 2025 stuff. Stop it.
Well, we all know that's for legal purposes. Yeah, that's legal purposes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Andy, I haven't seen much of it But apparently, the AAC, what do you want to call it? Rumor is looking at getting all 8 of the remaining teams from the Little 12 to join the American. Well, that's a bold move right there, man. I mean that.
Yeah.
So, what do Andy? Your thoughts on that, and then Will, and we're gonna close it out.
Yeah, like you said, that's a bold move, but honestly, that's what the American Athletic Conference should do. I mean, everyone, they've been talking about this past, especially since I've covered them. They've been branding themselves the Power 6 Conference. I mean, you know what they say, when you have the opportunity, I think, I can't remember specifically to what it is, but when you have the opportunity to step on someone's throat, you do it in terms of finishing off the Big 12. If you can absorb those teams, if there's any chance, you shoot your shot and do it. And according to the Big 12, that ESPN was also backing the American Athletic Conference, and they accused ESPN of helping the American Athletic Conference try to absorb those teams. If the American Athletic Conference has ESPN in its corner, hey, they're a lot more powerful than we thought when this news originally broke.
Yeah, but I think that's the indication. I guess I'm making an assumption that if that is true, it seems to me that ESPN is backing the American, the future of the American, rather than the future of the Little 12. Mm-hmm. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll throw a wrench in it. I don't know if ESPN is as powerful as they once were.
In what way?
In what way?
Yeah.
I mean, Disney, they've had a lot of cuts financially. They let go of a lot of talent. They let go of a number of people. They just reestablished themselves with the NHL, so they're back in hockey. But I don't know if ESPN is really that power player, that power broker that they once were. So I don't know, the AAC. I mean, you guys, that's your background, that's your area, so you know that better than I. But I just don't see all 8 teams, Baylor, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Kansas, joining forces with the AAC. I think there are other opportunities out there for Kansas and Iowa State that would benefit them more so than joining with the AAC.
You could be right. I'm kind of curious to see if Commissioner Resco will address this Wednesday. Excuse me, on the official second day of the football kickoff media day, because Tuesday is just really a preview. They're going to show both days will be on ESPN Plus. So fans, plug for my site. If you don't already have ESPN Plus, go to HoustonRoundballReview.com. There are links on my site where you can sign up to get ESPN Plus and Disney Plus and Hulu for all one price. And I do earn a commission on that. But yeah, Tuesday, August 3rd, starting at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus, the American Media Day pregame show. It'll be a 2-hour show where they're going to preview all 11 football teams. Wednesday morning, August 4th, at 8:30, Commissioner Resco is scheduled to give a State of the Conference speech. I wonder what he'll say, if anything, and how he'll phrase it regarding the future of the conference, expansion, realignment, whatever. Obviously, you have to be careful what he says for legal purposes. But I'm curious how he'll phrase his speech. So that'll be Wednesday, August 4th at 8:30 Central Time in the morning. There'll be 2 sessions, 8:30 a.m. and then 12:30 p.m. as they split up the team to discuss the AAC football on ESPN Plus. So Andy and I have been talking about this. He knows how I feel about how the conference has done such a sorry job utilizing the ESPN Plus platform. So hopefully this is an indication that they are finally going to use it and utilize it more. They did finally hire someone in the studio digital area, I think 2 weeks ago. She'll be in working in digital, and I'm assuming she'll be part of the media day these next 2 days, August 3rd and 4th. Well, you got a point about KU, Iowa State, the other conferences. But what if those schools are told no thank you? from the Big Ten, from the ACC, from the Pac-12. No. And those schools have no other option. Then what?
You said there are currently 11 teams in the AAC.
Yep.
There's not going to be a 19-team conference. 16 is the number.
Which is, see, now you brought up something that I heard yesterday. And this shocked me. This person told me, and I had never even considered this, because I think it would open up a whole nother can of worms. This person told me, oh no, Chris, they're going to drop some teams.
Mm.
And I was like, what? So I said, yeah, it'll be 16 teams. So I was like, oh, man. If that happens, I think that's so far-fetched. But if that happens, because, Will, you said it. It won't be 19. Football is king in college sports. Man, if you drop schools, you really don't care about the perception about what people think about you. For other sports, you don't care. You don't care at all. You are clearly showing football is king, football and basketball are king, and the rest of y'all, if you don't play that sport, sorry. Boy, I don't know how that could work legally. But thoughts, Andy, what do you think about that? And we'll close it out.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's got to put schools like Wichita State. I mean, Temple, you probably put East Carolina in there on notice. I mean, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. So, but honestly, it's not surprising. I mean, if they get a chance, to substitute the teams from the Big 12, especially the upper echelon, when you're talking about the Oklahoma States, the Texas Techs, the Baylors, I could see the American Athletic Conference wanting to add those teams over the bottom tier teams of the American Athletic Conference, but that's surprising. I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, that shocked me when I heard that. So because it brings up a point. Why would conferences go beyond 16? We were discussing last weekend, 20 teams in a conference, 30 teams in a conference, these mega mergers and stuff. Okay, that didn't make any sense either.
Mm-hmm.
But dropping schools to be at 16, that opened my eyes. I was stunned at that. I'm still surprised at that one. So I don't know if there's any legs to it or not, but just to have it tossed out there, and I was like, wow. All right, closing it out. Will, how can folks find you on the internet?
I appreciate the opportunity as always. Will Gibson 7 on Twitter as well as Instagram, WTGsports.com, as well as the Will Knows Facebook page.
Andy, how can folks find you?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at Yanez_5. They can follow our podcast, Pod Slamma, which I'm going to take the opportunity to plug even more. But this last week, we had the opportunity to interview UH women's basketball head coach Ron Huey. We had a good conversation. Actually, we asked him about his thoughts on just the conference realignment across the NCAA. He had pretty good quotes and about the American Athletic in general for the upcoming season, what he expects in terms of the women's basketball season. He talked about a couple of the players. So good episode. Check it out. That's Pod Slamma. I'll put it on the screen. But content, Chris.
Content is key, man. And I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. Houston Roundball Review on Instagram. Twitter, you see scrolling across the screen there. The HR Review. Hope everyone enjoyed the show. Thanks to our guests for joining us. Translator, TV presenter, radio, TV, and translator, Deniz Aksoy. Currently, New Rockets rookie Alperen Sengun. Chief translator for him. Not sure how long that'll last. Didn't sound like it'll be for the season. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you very much for joining us. Thanks to AD Moore for talking Houston Texans with us. The second hour, just indicator of going forward, our plans going forward, basketball, football, some baseball. put it out there again. Once again, my invite to the student journalists at Rice still applies. Rice, TSU, HBU, Prairie View. If you want to come on and talk sports for your schools, please join us. Just hit me up on my DMs, whatever. Hit me up, and we'll make that work going forward as well. As always, thank you very much for watching us. This is another edition of Houston Roundball Review presents Folks Talking Sports. We're going to do it again same time next week, fellas. Next Sunday.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Everybody take care and see you next Sunday.